Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Among the different schools of philosophy which are prevalent in India, three of them are very well known. Advaita Vedanta Darshana, Visishtadvaita Vedanta Darshana and Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. And then there are other schools of philosophy also prevalent in India, but these three are very well known. Among them, Advaita Vedanta Darshana, its principles, its characteristics, they are pretty well known all around the country, especially the Hindu society. When it comes to Dvaita Vedanta Darshana, we can't say the same thing. While the name Dvaita Vedanta is very well known all over the country and all over the society, what it stands for, what are its principles, what are its key tenets, those are not well known. They are not familiar. They are not familiar to big sections of the society in India. So, the purpose of this video lecture is to carry a fundamental basic knowledge of what Dvaita Vedanta Darshana stands for, its principles and its key pillars and key tenets to a large section of the society. The Dvaita Vedanta Darshana's details are pretty well known to scholars in that field and also some interested people who have taken the efforts and pains to study about it. So, this particular lecture is going to carry this, the objective of it is to carry this to a large section of people who may not be very familiar with this Vedanta Darshana, but who might be interested. In Taittiriya Upanishad, the Brihuvalli takes a very interesting approach towards exploration and understanding the various dimensions of the absolute truth, the highest absolute truth. That approach is very fascinating. I am intending to adopt that approach in today's lecture to explore the various aspects and various dimensions of Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. Before I begin, let me pay my obeisance to Sri Madhvacharya, who is the preceptor of this school of philosophy, and also my obeisance to a set of divine yatis who followed in his spiritual lineage and who carried this teaching to various nooks and corners of this country. I have to offer my pranams to one particular Swamiji whose lecture on the YouTube on Advaita Vedanta, that the lecture itself was titled What is Vedanta, but the bulk of the content was Advaita Vedanta. That lecture was very fascinating, very interesting, and that particular lecture worked as a trigger, acted as a trigger for me to think about doing this particular video here. My pranams to him. My pranams to also a profound Upanyasakar and scholar, great scholar from Bangalore, who has been instrumental in my taking up this spiritual path and learning many of the aspects of the scriptures, and my discussions with him have always been very intellectually stimulating and also spiritually uplifting. My pranams to him. Now let us go to the subject matter. What is Dvaita Vedanta Darshana? For that we have to go to the very beginning. What is Vedanta Darshana? And before that, what is the larger perspective in which the Vedanta Darshana fits? Let us start from the Shat Darshana. At one particular point in time in India, 6 schools of philosophies were very well known. All of them accepted Vedas as the authority. In addition to these 6, there were 3 or 4 other schools of philosophy which did not accept Vedas as the authority, but which very much popularly existed. Buddha, Jaina, All these are examples of that. Those are not our subjects today. We will come to the six Shat Darshana, six schools of philosophy which accepted Vedas as the authority. Sankhya Darshana, Yoga Darshana, Nyaya Darshana, Vaiseshika Darshana, Purva Mimamsika Darshana, and Vedanta Darshana. Vedanta Darshana is the sixth in this Shat Darshanas. Again, we will not go into the details of each of these darshana, that is not the subject matter today, but all these six we should understand, and understand that all the six accepted the authority of Vedas, but they approached the philosophy in each one in a different manner, in a different angle. Out of them, the Vedanta Darshana is the one which is today currently very much in practice in India. The other five are not that present in India in the current times. What is Vedanta Darshana? Vedanta Darshana is the approach which accepts Prasthanatraya as the foundational authoritative texts from which philosophies which emerge are part of the Vedanta Darshana. What is Prasthanatraya? Upanishads, which are part of Vedas, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita. These three are the authoritative texts of Vedanta Darshana. These three texts together are called Prasthanatraya. Upanishads are called Shruti Prasthana, Brahma Sutra is called Nyaya Prasthana, and Bhagavad Gita is called Smriti Prasthana. Let us take the word Vedanta. That itself is very interesting. What it tells us is that Vedanta Darshana depends on the Anta part of Vedas, that's the end part of Vedas, which are all the Upanishads. That is one explanation for the word Vedanta Darshana, why Vedanta appears in that word Vedanta Darshana. Another explanation is Vedanta Darshana are the final conclusion of the Vedas. Anta portion in another sense. The final judgment, final conclusion of the Vedas, the final teachings of the Vedas. That is Vedanta. So, schools of philosophy accepting these three Prasthanatraya, they are the ones who constitute Vedanta Darshana. Among these, Adi Shankara, Sri Adi Shankaracharya, his commentary, Bhashya on the Brahma Sutra, gave rise to Advaita Vedanta Darshana. Sri Ramanujacharya's commentary or Bhashya on Brahma Sutram, it gave rise to Visishtadvaita Vedanta Darshana. Sri Madhvacharya's Bhashya on Brahma Sutra, that gave rise to what we are calling as Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. All of them depend on these primary texts or fundamental authoritative texts, which are Upanishads, Brahma Sutram, and Bhagavad Gita. Okay. A fundamental question which appears in Mundaka Upanishad probably is a question which drives all these philosophies in Vedanta Darshana. Kasminnu Bhagavo Vigyate Sarvamidam Vigyatam Bhavatiti. It's a question that Shishya asked the teacher. Kasminnu Bhagavan Vigyate Sarvamidam Vigyatam Bhavatiti. The question basically says, O Acharya, which is that one thing knowing which makes one know everything else which we see. Okay. Probably that is the trigger question for Vedanta Darshana and all the schools of philosophy under Vedanta Darshana. Okay. There are also other schools in addition to Advaita Vedanta, Visishtadvaita Vedanta and Dvaita Vedanta. There are also other schools which are part of this Vedanta Darshana. Achintya Beda, Beda, Suddha Beda, Suddha Beda. All there many other schools exist. Also accepting the Prasthanatraya as the foundational texts. But these three are prevalent, very widely prevalent in India. Okay. Now we will come to the question, what is Dvaita Vedanta Darshana of the three here, of the three we are mentioning here. Dvaita Vedanta Darshana is reality based philosophy. In this philosophy, Dvaita Vedanta, Brahman, Jagat, Jivatma, all are real. All are real. They are not illusory. They are very real entities. Among the three, Brahman is the independent reality, and the Jagat and Jivas are dependent realities. That is the I am giving a very broad base of Vedanta, Dvaita Vedanta Darshana, and then we will go into exploring various aspects of it. Another key aspect of Dvaita Vedanta Darshana is that it's a difference based philosophy. It's a Bheda Siddhanta. Here, Brahman is different from Jagat, Jagat is different from Jivatma. They are all different from each other, and they are separate from each other. They are also separate from each other. So, at a very high level, Dvaita Vedanta Darshana can be seen as reality based philosophy and difference based philosophy. Now we will start exploring Dvaita Vedanta Darshana and the various key pillars of the Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. First of all, the word Dvaita itself is just a popular word for this philosophy. The most appropriate classical name for this philosophy is Tattvavada, which is reality based. But in popular usage, Dvaita has become very famous. So we also are using the same name here, Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. Okay. Now let us start exploring in the Taittiriya Upanishad Brihuvalli style. Let us start exploring each aspect of this Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. What is the first aspect we can see? Harihi Parataraha. Hari, Mahavishnu, is the supreme being, that is Brahman. He is both Nirguna Brahman and Saguna Brahman. He is both. How? He is Nirguna Brahman because he is free from the Prakriti based gunas of Sattvika, Rajasika and Tamasika. He is free from those gunas, so he is Nirguna Brahman. But he is Saguna Brahman because he is the abode of Sakala Kalyana Guna Paripurna, and he is Bhuma. He is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. So he is a Saguna Brahman. So he is both Nirguna Brahman and Saguna Brahman, and he is the supreme being. Bhagavad Gita in the 7th chapter says, Matta Parataram Nanyat Kinchit Asti Dhananjaya. Krishna says that there is no being higher than me, O Arjuna, O Dhananjaya. Okay. Mahabharata, one sloka says, Nasti Narayanam Samam Na Bhutam Na Bhavishyati. There is nothing equal to Narayana, neither in the past nor in the future. Automatically it means not now also, not in the present also. These are all some of the basic authoritative mantras which support this Hari Sarvottamatva, Harihi Parataraha, Hari Narayana, Sriman Narayana, Mahavishnu. He is supreme. He is the supreme being. He is Brahman. Okay. So this is Lord Hari is supreme. He is Brahman. He is one of the key pillars of Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. Now let us explore more. Let us explore more. What is Dvaita Vedanta Darshana? What is? Let us take another aspect of it. Satyam Jagat. This world is real. What we see around us, various forms, various names, they are all real. They are all real. There is nothing illusory here. Brahma Sutram says, Janmadhyasya yataha. Everything has come from Brahman. The Srishti has taken from Brahman, he is the creator. So what he has created is real, is very real. That is another pillar or key tenet of Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. Okay. To compare, Advaita Vedanta Darshana says world is unreal, it's illusory. Visishtadvaita Visishtadvaita Vedanta Darshana, it says world is real, world is real. Dvaita Vedanta Darshana says Satyam Jagat, world is very real. Okay. Let us continue our exploration. What more? What more does Dvaita Vedanta Darshana say? It says Tattvato Bedaha. Difference is reality. Difference is the basis of the universe. This is one of the key foundations of Dvaita Vedanta. It talks of Pancha Vedas. Paramatma, that is Brahman, to Jivatma, there is a difference. Paramatma to Jada, in other words, Prakriti, matter, there is a difference. They are not the same, they are different. Then Jiva to Jada, Jiva to matter, Jivatma to matter, again they are different. We saw three, Brahman to Jiva, Brahman to Jada, now Jiva to Jada. Very interestingly, the fourth and fifth are very interesting. Jiva to Jiva are different. Jiva to Jiva are different. Similarly, Jada to Jada are also different. So these make Pancha Vedas. Brahman to Jiva, Brahman to Jada, Jada to Jada, Jiva to Jada, Jiva to Jiva. Pancha Veda is one of the key foundations of Dvaita Vedanta. Mundaka Upanishad has another very interesting mantra which talks of Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakaya Samanam Vriksham Parishasvaje. That talks about two birds sitting on the same branch of a tree, and one is Jivatma, one is Paramatma. This is again very important basis for the difference as the pillar of Dvaita Vedanta. In comparison, Advaita Vedanta Darshana, there is no question of difference. There is only one entity existing, Brahman. And what we see as Jiva, what we see as ourselves, what we see as everything around us, they are all illusory. They all are one and the same. That is Brahman. There is only one which exists. So there is no, since there is no second entity, there is no talk of difference, no discussion of difference there. Visishtadvaita definitely differentiates between Brahman and Jivatma. But Jivatmas are all same. They are all similar. They are all similar. There is no difference between the two intrinsically. But through various janmas, the Jivatma shrinks or expands depending on its own karma and vasana. This is to the extent I have been aware of Visishtadvaita Vedanta. So intrinsically, jivas are all similar. They are all same. They are all similar. Okay. This is just to put the whole thing in perspective, whereas the Dvaita Vedanta Darshana believes in Tattvato Bedaha. Beda is reality, Beda is philosophy, difference is philosophy, and the Pancha Vedas, it swears by the Pancha Vedas. Now, let us continue our exploration. What more does Dvaita Vedanta say? What is the relationship between Jivatma and Paramatma? Now that Dvaita Vedanta has established that Paramatma is different from Jivatma and Jivatma is different from each other, different Jivatmas are different from each other, they are separate, and Paramatma and Jivatma are also separate in the sense in Visishtadvaita Jivatma is part of Paramatma, whereas here Dvaita Vedanta talks of they are all different entities, separate entities, separate entities. What is the relationship between Jivatma and Hari, that is Paramatma? Okay. Jiva Ganaha Harer Anucharaha. That is what Dvaita Vedanta says. That is, all the Jivas exist in groups. This is again one of the key differentiating aspect of Dvaita Vedanta, that Jivatmas exist in groups. Sattvika Jivatmas, which are Mukti Yogya Jivatmas, Rajasika Jivatmas, which are Nitya Samsari Jivatmas, Tamasika Jivatmas, which are Tamo Yogya Jivatmas. They are all groups of Jivatmas. So, Jivatmas exist in groups, and that is why it says Jiva Ganaha, and they all of them are dependent on Hari, and also they are dasas of Hari. Jiva Ganaha Harer Anucharaha. That is why the song Kirtana with Soham is not acceptable to Dvaita Vedanta. Dasoham, Tava Dasoham is the one which is acceptable to Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. I am your servant. Every Jivatma says, I am your servant. To put it in perspective along with the other two darshanas, in Advaita Darshana, this doesn't arise because there is only one entity, that is Brahman. So, Jivatma is same as Brahman. So, the question of Jivatma being servant of Brahman does not arise. In Visishtadvaita also, the Jivas are in groups. Baddha Jivas, Mukta Jivas and Nitya Jivas. That is the grouping of Jivas in the Visishtadvaita Darshana. Okay. So, Jiva Ganaha Harer Anucharaha is another key aspect, key pillar, key tenet of Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. Let us continue our exploration. We just now saw that the Jivatmas are in groups in Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. They are in groups of Sattvika Jivatmas, Rajasika Jivatmas, Tamasika Jivatmas. Okay. Now let us take another pillar that Dvaita Vedanta Darshana tells us about. Okay. It is a very important base of this philosophy, school of philosophy, Taratamyam. It says all the Jivatmas are not only in groups, they are graded high, medium, low, inferior, superior. There is a gradation of Jivatmas. There is a gradation of Jivatmas. In fact, when I say Jivatma, we should remember it's not only human beings, it also includes animals, it includes birds, it includes non-moving things. Also trees and plants, all these are included in this, okay. So, the Taratamyam or the hierarchy, the way Dvaita Vedanta describes is the non-moving ones, stationary ones, they are at the bottom of the pile, bottom of the hierarchy, and from there you keep moving up birds and animals, and those animals which are instinctive and those animals which can think, a bit mentally developed animals. These are all the various layers in the hierarchy, and then human beings, and in human beings also knower of Vedas are higher placed, and then those who are able to explain Vedas to others, they are even higher, more higher, in a higher position in the Taratamyam, in the hierarchy, and those who know Vedas, who are able to explain and teach others about Vedas and also practice, preach what they are teaching, they are considered even higher, and then it goes higher in that hierarchy. So, Jiva Ganas, that goes all the way to Brahma. The Jiva Ganas and Jivas are in this hierarchy, this Taratamyam. Nichocha Bhavam Gataha, this Dvaita Vedanta says that they are all in a hierarchy, and this hierarchy is not only during samsara, but this hierarchy is also during mukti. In mukti, in moksha also, they don't lose their identity, is Jivatma, and each Jivatma continues in its hierarchy, in its place in the hierarchy. Very important, very important. Accordingly, mukti is not the same for all the jivatmas. We will be seeing it in another aspect when we come to exploring another aspect of Dvaita Vedanta. So, Nichocha Bhavam Gataha is describing an hierarchy of jivatmas based on their capacity, their nature, and intrinsic quantum of bliss which they will enjoy in mukti also varies. That is why we keep saying it's a Bheda Siddhanta, difference based philosophy. Okay. Um, this draws also from the Ananda Taratamya in Taittiriya Upanishad, where the Upanishad keeps telling us that starting from a very Uttama human being, the Ananda goes on increasing at different levels of jivas, all the way up, all the way up. This is there in Ananda Taratamya in the Taittiriya Upanishad, and almost similar concept or same concept has been taken in the Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. To put it in larger perspective, in Advaita Vedanta, this does not arise. There is no need for this because there are no multiple jivas. There is only one entity, that is Brahman. Visishtadvaita Vedanta, all the jivatmas are intrinsically similar. So there is no place or no need for a taratamya or a hierarchy there. Okay. Let us now continue our exploration. What more? What is the next aspect of Dvaita Vedanta Darshana? Incidentally, Dvaita Vedanta Darshana is also generally referred to as Dvaita Siddhanta in popular terms, Dvaita Siddhanta. Now we will touch on one of the very interesting aspects of Dvaita Siddhanta, Dvaita Vedanta, Mukti. What is the concept of Mukti in Dvaita Vedanta? Mukti has two aspects in Dvaita Vedanta. One is release from bondage, liberation. Liberation from samsara, liberation from the birth death cycle, liberation from bondage and becoming free, becoming free. Another aspect of mukti is experiencing the bliss, experiencing the blissful state after the release from the bondage. Both these together, they form the mukti. They form the definition of mukti. Muktihi naija sukhanubhutihi, Dvaita Vedanta says. That is, mukti is experiencing the Swarupa Ananda of the Jivatma. The Jivatma after mukti is still retaining its identity, as I said already. It's retaining its identity and it is experiencing feeling. It can feel, it can feel, it can experience its natural intrinsic bliss, quantum of bliss. That can vary from Jivatma to Jivatma, group to group, based on Ananda Taratamya. Not only this, another very interesting aspect of mukti is not all the jivatmas who attain mukti go to the same place, Vaikuntha or God's abode. It says Satvika Jivaganas, Satvika Jivatmas, they go up. Rajasi in mukti, Rajasika Jivaganas in mukti, they remain in the middle. The Tamasika Jivaganas, in their mukti, they go to hell. They go to hell, and that is their mukti, and experiencing what the intrinsic bliss or intrinsic state of the Tamasika Jivaganas. So, mukti is not the same for the different groups of Jivatmas. This derives from the sloka in Bhagavad Gita, Urdhvam Gacchanti Sattvastaha Madhye Tishtanti Rajasikaha Adho Gacchanti Tamasikaha Tamasaha. Okay. Bhagavad Gita says, Urdhvam Gacchanti Sattvastaha, Satvika Jivatmas, they go up. Madhye Tishtanti Rajasikaha, Rajasaha, Rajasa Jivaganas, they remain in the middle. They enjoy their mukti there. And Adho Gacchanti Tamasaha. Okay. So, this is again one of the key aspects of Dvaita Vedanta or Dvaita Siddhanta, that mukti is not the same for all the jivatmas. And during the mukti, the jivatma is still retaining its identity and is very conscious of its own existence, and it's enjoying its own swarupa ananda, swabhava ananda or swarupa ananda, intrinsic bliss it enjoys. Okay. And obviously no rebirth for the jivaganas which have attained, or jivatma which has attained mukti. Okay. The mukti concept varies very significantly in the three darshanas. To put it in larger perspective, in Advaita Vedanta, mukti is when the jivatma attains the realization that he is Brahman. Jiva Brahma Aikyam, realization of that is mukti in Advaita. In Visishtadvaita, mukti is jiva reaches Vaikuntham. All the mukta jivas, they reach Vaikuntham and they serve God, and in a way they also can reach a state similar to God, similar to God. These are the aspects in the Visishtadvaita, and the mukti concept in Dvaita Vedanta is significantly different, significantly different. Now let us continue our exploration of Dvaita Siddhanta. What is the next aspect? What's the next pillar of Dvaita Vedanta? How to attain this mukti? Yes, we saw mukti, we saw jiva, groups of jivas, we saw jiva is different from Brahman, jiva is different from Jada, jiva to jiva is, they are different from each other and they are all separate. Jivas are dependent realities and Brahman is the only independent reality, and we saw that different groups and jivas exist in groups. Different groups have different kind of mukti, but in mukti they enjoy their Swarupa Ananda. All this we saw. But now the key question is, how do you achieve this mukti? How do you attain this mukti? Here we must remember the Visishtadvaita Darshana, Visishtadvaita Vedanta Darshana and Dvaita Vedanta Darshana are called theistic schools of philosophy. They are based on bhakti. They are based on bhakti. Advaita philosophy is different from this. Advaita philosophy is different from this. So, being a theistic school of philosophy, the answer to this question, how do you attain mukti, is very simple and straightforward: through bhakti. Through bhakti. Amala bhaktischa tat sadhanam. That is what Dvaita Vedanta says. Pure devotion is the means to attain mukti. Okay. What is bhakti? Madhvacharya defines it in a very beautiful sloka. He says, Mahatmya Jnana Purvastu Sudrudaha Sarvato Adikaha Snehaha Bhaktihi iti Proktaha. Knowing the glory of God and having a continuous ceaseless devotion and love towards God, which exceeds love towards anything else, including to yourself, and very determined, unshakable love. This is bhakti, Madhvacharya says. Not only that, he says, Taya muktihi nacha anyata. Only through that one can attain mukti, not through any other means. It's a beautiful sloka. Mahatmya jnana purvastu sudrudaha. Sudrudaha sarvato adikaha snehaha bhaktihi iti proktaha taya muktihi nacha anyata. Okay. This gives the answer, direct answer to the question, how do you achieve mukti? How do you attain mukti? Only through bhakti. Amala bhaktischa tat sadhanam. Pure devotion is the means to attain mukti. One of the great yatis of Madhva lineage, he says, Nirantara prema pravaha is bhakti. Nirantara prema pravaha, flood of love towards God, continuous, ceaseless, continuous flood of love towards God is bhakti. Nirantara prema pravaha. Okay. Not only that, Madhvacharya is also very clear in Dvaita Vedanta that bhakti can be attained only through his grace, through Paramatma's grace, through Harinarayana's grace. Okay. And another sloka in Bhagavad Gita in the 11th chapter, the famous Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga chapter, it says, Bhaktya tu ananyaya shakyaha aham evam vida arjuna jnatum drashtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parantapa. Other than bhakti, other than through bhakti, no one can understand me this way, no one can see me, have darshan of me, and no one can reach me other than through bhakti. Bhaktya tu ananyaya shakyaha evam vida Arjuna. So, bhakti is one of the most important cornerstones of Dvaita Vedanta Darshana, and Sri Madhvacharya is very particular, insistent that bhakti and through his grace, only through them one can attain mukti. Okay. Now, let us continue our exploration. Just like in Taittiriya Upanishad Bruhuvalli, Varuna says, tells his son Bruhu to go back and continue the tapas and discover more, discover more. We will do the same. Let us continue our exploration. Okay. So far we saw various pillars of Dvaita Vedanta. What are the channels through which this whole knowledge can be, knowledge towards absolute truth and towards the various principles? What are the channels? What are the key channels of this knowledge? Hekshadi Tritayam Pramanam, says Dvaita Vedanta. That is, the three key means of knowledge, the key three channels of knowledge are Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Agama. These are the three accepted means of knowledge, channels of knowledge in Dvaita Vedanta. Okay. Pratyaksha is what you can see, what you can perceive, what you can perceive. Anumana is through inference, through inference. Agama is through scriptures, through scriptures. That is, the knowledge which you can see through Pratyaksha is acceptable, knowable, and knowledge which one can derive, infer from inference, from Anumana is acceptable. But in Dvaita Vedanta, Agama has the highest capacity or highest ranking among the three pramanas. Among the three pramanas, Agama is the scriptures. They triumph, or no, let me say this way, they trump over the other two. Agama Pramana trumps over Anumana Pramana and Pratyaksha Pramana. Okay, unless it is supported by Agamas, it's not acceptable. What are the Agamas? Agamas are scriptures. What are they? Two types, Apaurusheya and Paurusheya. Apaurusheya is not written by anybody. Those are the Vedas. Vedas including Upanishads. Apaurusheya Agamas. And then Paurusheya Agamas, Mahabharata, Bhagavata Purana, Moola Ramayana. These are all the, even Bhagavad Gita comes under this. Okay. They are all the Paurusheya scriptures. So Agama consists of both these. So Agama has the highest ranking as a pramana in Dvaita Vedanta, but the three pramanas are accepted as channels of understanding the truth, means of knowledge. Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Agama, with Agama having the highest position in this. To put it in larger perspective, Advaita Vedanta, I think it accepts 6 or 7 pramanas. 6 or 7 pramanas. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Agama. In addition, some more pramanas also it accepts. I think to my knowledge, Visishta Dvaita also accepts the same 3, Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Agama. And under Agama, I think the Divya Prabandhams also will come in there in the Visishta Dvaita Darshana. Now we come to one more pillar of Dvaita Vedanta. We are talking right from beginning, Brahman is Hari. Hari Narayana, Lord Hari, Hari Sarvottamatva, Hari being the supreme being, Hari being Nirguna Brahman, and Hari being also Saguna Brahman, and Hari is the only independent reality, and Jiva Ganaha, Hare Anucharaha, all the Jiva, the groups of Jivas, all are dasas or servants of Lord Hari, everything. How do we know about Hari? How do we know about Lord Hari? Dvaita Vedanta says, Akila Amnayaika Vedyo Harihi. That is, Hari can be known only through Vedas. Only through Vedas. Vedas are the only authoritative source of knowledge about Hari. Okay. When I talked about the method of means to attain mukti, bhakti is amala bhakti tat sadhanam, and there I referred to the sloka from Sri Madhvacharya, Mahatmya Purva Mahatmya Jnana Purvastu. It means knowing the glory of Hari, then this ceaseless, unshakable, determined bhakti which supersedes attention or love for one's own self or love towards everything else. That kind of love is bhakti. We saw that there. In that, the first aspect is Mahatmya Jnana Purvastu, knowing the glory of God, having Bhagavat Jnana, then Bhakti. Combination of Bhagavat Jnana and Bhakti is the true Bhakti as per Madhvacharya, Sri Madhvacharya. So here what he says is, how do you attain, get that Jnana? How do you get that Bhagavat Jnana? Through Vedas. Because only Vedas can speak about Hari, and only Vedas we can know about Hari through only Vedas. Pratyaksha cannot work here. Pratyaksha cannot work because we can't see Hari. We can't see Brahman. We can't see Mahavishnu. Pratyaksha cannot work. Anumana can work to some extent, but Agama, Vedas are the only means. Only means. Okay. And Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo. He says, I can be known only through Vedas. I can know only through Vedas. Okay. Here comes a question. Okay. So we can ask the question, Taittiriya Upanishad says, Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha, it says. That is, Brahman is where the words try to go towards, but at one point it's not able to go beyond, the words come back. Manas also tries to go towards Brahman up to a point, and then it's not able to go beyond, it comes back. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. That means words cannot describe Brahman. So how do we say Vedas can explain Brahman to us, or we can know through Vedas? The key point here to understand is that our words and our manas cannot go all the way to Brahman. Not that Vedic words or Vedas cannot know Brahman. Vedas can know Brahman. Vedas are the only means to know Brahman for us. And for us, we can know Brahman based on the capacity of the inquirer. Capacity of the inquirer. Some great souls' words can go closer to Brahman, and some ordinary souls, ordinary inquirer, mumukshu, his inquiry capacity must be limited, more limited. So can go to a part of the way, but Vedas can definitely explain Brahman to us, Lord Hari to us. So in this, in the larger perspective, same thing is said as by Advaita Vedanta, same thing is said by Visishtadvaita Vedanta, except that Advaita Vedanta would say Brahman is understood through Vedas, Visishtadvaita Vedanta and Dvaita Vedanta will say Mahavishnu, Lord Hari will be known through Vedas. That is the one difference there. These are the pillars of Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. Now, let us summarize what we saw so far. Okay. Shat Darshanas existed in India for a long time. Out of the Shat Darshanas, Vedanta Darshana is the one which is more prevalent. Today, the other five have slowly gone out of vogue. schools of philosophies, and Vedanta Darshana has many schools of philosophy which have emerged from Vedanta Darshana, but of them, the three schools of philosophy are very prevalent all over the Hindu society around the world. And these three are the Advaita Vedanta Darshana, Visishtadvaita Vedanta Darshana, and Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. And all the three of them, they accept Prasthanatraya as the authoritative texts and authoritative foundational texts. Of them, the Dvaita Vedanta Darshana has 9 pillars. In our exploration, we saw 9 pillars of this philosophy, of the school of philosophy. Number one, Harihi Parataraha, Lord Hari is the supreme being. Second, the world is real, Satyam Jagat. And the third difference is reality. Difference is the philosophy here. And number four, Jivatmas are existing in groups and they are dasas of Sri Hari, Dasoham, Tava Dasoham. Number five, the Jivatmas are in a gradation, hierarchy of gradation or Taratamya, which continues even in Mukti, not only during Samsara. And number six, Mukti is a state of liberation and then experiencing the intrinsic bliss of the Jivatma. Number seven, Bhakti is the sole means through which Mukti can be attained. Number eight, the Pramanas through which the knowledge can be obtained are three, which are Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Agama. And number nine, the final one, is Lord Hari is known only through Vedas. These are the 9 key pillars, the 9 key tenets of Dvaita Vedanta. Okay. Now, these 9 pillars, this whole Dvaita Vedantic concepts have been very beautifully brought in together by Swami Sri Vyasatirtha of Hampi, who was there in Hampi almost 500 years ago. He has a very exalted position in the Dvaita Vedanta Sampradaya. Dvaita Vedanta Sampradaya looks at three munis as the like Prasthanatraya. They are called Munitraya. And these three munis, these three rishis, yatis, they are the ones who are the basis of propagating Dvaita Vedanta. They have done a lot of work by writing many texts. The three munis are Madhvacharya, Sri Jayatirtha, and Sri Vyasatirtha. And these three munis are named as Munitraya of Dvaita Vedanta. And Sri Vyasatirtha has captured this entire summary in one sloka. This sloka is very famous in the Dvaita Sampradaya. This sloka is known as Navaratna Prameya sloka, Navaratna Prameya Deepika. Various names are there for this sloka, but they are Navaratna Prameya is the key aspect of this sloka. What does the sloka say? Sriman Madhvamate Hari Parataraha Satyam Jagat Tattvato Bedaha Jiva Ganaha Harer Anucharaha Nichocha Bhavam Gataha Muktihi Naija Sukhanubhutihi Amala Bhaktischa Tat Sadhanam Hekshadi Tritayam Pramanam Akila Amnayaka Vedyo Harihi. These completely the 9 pillars, 9 key tenets of Dvaita Vedanta Darshana have been captured in one beautiful sloka by Sri Vyasatirtha with a namaskara to the Munitraya and Sri Raghavendra Swami, whom I worship regularly. I want to complete this discussion on Dvaita Vedanta Darshana. I sincerely hope that this gives a higher level of familiarity to those who listen to this. I'm talking of normal people, not the scholars and the great pandits. They know much more about Dvaita Vedanta Darshana, but the common people across the society, if this video lecture, if it serves to enhance their familiarity with the basics of Dvaita Vedanta, I will be very happy. I will consider this, the purpose of this video has been achieved. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sitaram.